Good afternoon, anglers. This is Anglers 48. Back here in far Texas in my garage. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a tutorial on cleaning a baitcast reel. This is a Black Max Abu Garcia. Okay. I was able to do a tutorial on a spinning reel, Abu Garcia. If you haven't been able to check that one out, go ahead and do so at Anglers 48. Now, you can do if you have a reel that you want to service, you can watch my video and be going through the motions while you watch the video. Okay, it's up to you. Now, this Black Max Abu Garcia is on the low end in price compared to some of the other ones that are out there. Now, this one, you're gonna find that Academy in a combo for 40 bucks. I'm not sure if it has gone up since everything is going up, but this one right here has outlasted the loose spinning reel. As good as the loose spinning reel is, the Black Max has outlasted it. Now, the loose is smarter, okay, in a sense where when you cast out, you get very few backlashes as compared to this one. If you're casting against the wind or with you need to use a heavy weight when you're casting out with this reel, or else you're gonna get a bird's nest. Now, this is one that I would use quite a bit in my fishing adventures. Not to play with, but more as casting it out and leaving it there. Okay, so I would mainly use it with a 1 ounce to 2 ounce weight. On a few months ago, I was fishing with this reel and it got wet, and all of a sudden it started making a squeaky noise, a squealing noise. I wasn't really too comfortable taking it out there, afraid that it would seize up, and then it's one less reel that I was gonna be using. So check this out. I don't know if the camera can. So based on this, it has to be a bearing, some bearing that is in there. I have opened it and cleaned as much as I could, but I think that the problem lies further inside of it. So we're gonna go ahead and get to work and start opening this thing right here. Now, okay, I'm gonna go over the tools that will be needed and to start off is I am going to spray some WD-40 on the screws. That way they'll soak and I won't have a hard time getting them off. Oh, okay. So we'll let that soak for a little bit. The tools that I have here in front of me that I'm going to use are going to be the minute screwdriver, I have a flathead screw, minute driver as well. Okay, I have some vice grips in case I need them, and I believe it's a 10. Let me see. It's a 10 millimeter socket. Okay, so let me see. I am going to resort to using some Q-tips to get some of the dirt out, sand, whatever, debris. I got some grease and some real oil. Okay, and once again, I do have a bowl in case I need to soak some of the screws right here. Okay, so normally I start on this end right here on the opposite side of the handle, right? But I'm going to be working on the other end. Okay, I may run into some situations, but once again, I believe that the problem lies in this area right here. Okay, because I've greased and oiled this area and the problem continues. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the little cap that is over one of the bearings there. Now, I'm not gonna remove the handle just yet. If I remove the screws on the handle side and it still doesn't want to come apart, then I'll remove the handles. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna wipe the excess WD-40. Okay. Once again, this is a bait caster. Some people, this is all they use when they go fishing. Just pure bait casters. And I'm going to leave these screws soaking in WD-40. Okay. The same way WD-40 gets in there, the salt water gets in there, and then they end up seizing up. That's why you put a little bit of the WD-40 before attempting to remove them. If you don't, you may strip the head of the screw. Okay. Once the head of the screw is stripped, you may not get to it. Okay, that's screw number 2. And again, I am working on the handle side. Okay, I am on to screw number 3. And this is a famous reel. A lot of people have the Black Max. Okay, very important. You want to try to keep the screws where they belong. There's 3 screws. 2 of them are the same size. 1 of them is shorter. So very important that you don't mix them up, because when it's time to put them back together, you may end up putting one of them in a different spot, and you may mess up the grooves. Okay. Okay. We need one more. Okay. It does appear to be coming loose. I can already start noticing that it's starting to break apart. Okay. All right. So that's 3 screws on top, 1 screw on the back end. Okay. Now we're gonna pull it apart. You gotta be careful with springs that may pop out. Okay. And it's not coming out. It is not coming out. So what's going to happen is I am going to reinstall the screws. Okay. I'm going to put the screws back in there. And then I'm going to have to remove the handle and everything else. Okay, so I went ahead and put back 2 screws. Okay. Now I'm going to have to remove, there's I believe it's a nut. First of all, it's a protective cap, and then I think the nut is underneath. So I'm gonna remove the safety screw right here. Okay. Once again, soaking it just a little bit. There's a little protective washer, if you will. I'm going to clean this area with the Q-tips. This is a 10 millimeter, and I'm going to remove it. Okay. Soaking it a little bit. Now, you don't want to mix up the screws from one portion of the reel with, so just keep in mind, if you don't pile up everything, because then you're deciding, what goes where. Okay. So this is the handle. And like I said in my other video, as you remove, you clean. That way you're not having to do all of that as you put everything back. Okay. Okay, so I am going to put a little bit of WD on the handles. That way we don't spook the fish when we're reeling it in. Okay, so that's that. This was a good working reel before I had salt get to it. Sometimes when you're out there, you start getting into the fish and getting into the story, right? Talking, and all of a sudden, there goes a wave over the boat. Or you're putting a hook, you're putting you're putting a bait on the hook, and you have your pole right here, and then it drops. Or you drop it in the water. Okay? So there is a washer, very important. Don't lose any pieces. Okay? You have, and put them in order. Put them in order. Okay. Now we're going to remove the star. Okay, I'm going to remove the star, and once again we're cleaning. Sometimes in the process of cleaning, the problem is resolved. Okay, you have a lot of washers here. Basically spacers, and I am going to spray these like so. Okay, and I'm not gonna remove them. Okay, I'm going to lay them the way they were removed, because just putting one washer wrong, or one piece incorrectly the wrong way, that's enough to ruin your your reel. Okay, so there. Now I'm going to clean the star. There's a lot of gunk underneath it. Right, and then that's the star of the reel, guys. Okay, right there. Now there appears that there may be a bearing here. Okay, now let me take those two screws that I did originally. Let me remove them. And let's see if everything comes out, which it should. Okay, right there. Let me put everything in order. Okay, so let's see what I removed. I removed the screws on the lever on the winding side. There's 3 screws on the face. There's 1 screw in the back side, and then it didn't want to come fully apart. So what did I do? I removed the star, I removed the washers, and let's see if it now it comes apart. Look at that. It came apart. So I'm gonna see what's going on there, clean that up. If there's a bearing, fix it. Not fix it, but so as you can see, and I'm gonna show you, there are a lot of springs here, guys. A lot of springs. Sometimes when you pull a lid up, they jump right at you. And to figure out where they go, sometimes that's an issue right there. So that's what it looks like right there, guys. Okay? Right there. From the looks of it, it does look pretty dry. It really does. No lubrication. I don't see any sign of lubrication there. Okay, let me put something. No. To hold it up. I'm gonna have to put the bottle to hold it up, and that won't do it. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. The first thing I'm going to be looking at is going to be the face of the fishing reel. Going back, we're going to be working on the face where you crank the reel. So there is it looks like it comes out, and this is a bearing. Okay, that's a bearing right there, very important bearing. Okay. So I'm going to clean this out. Okay, clean that out a little bit. I'm gonna take a look at the bearing. There is a small bearing here, and this is more like a tensioner bearing right here. I've oiled this bearing right here, and the problem still continued. So I can feel the bearings there. I'll put a little bit of grease on them. Look how gunky this Q-tips is. Look at that. We'll clean it with this right here. We'll put some grease. Okay. Put some grease right there. So we're gonna put this bearing back. Okay, like so. It's got grease. It had gunk earlier. Let me see if this bearing comes out. Okay. I'm gonna softly push in. No. I'm not 100% sure that this one does come out. I figure they all are supposed to come out. It does have a little clamp in there that keeps it. You know what? As soon as I touched the clamp, I saw it fly and it landed right here. That's what I was telling you, guys. That's what I was telling you. That if you're not careful, if it would have landed somewhere else, chances are, maybe I fixed the problem, but because it was missing that little clamp. So let me see. No. Let me put that clamp back. Very, very thin. Look at that. Thin clamp. And I don't like this clamp. And I poked myself. Okay, I put the clamp back on. I put it on, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I am just gonna put some grease there. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's that. So I greased the bearing on the face. I greased the bearing on the face. Now, check this out. Okay. It's got one large gear right there. The shaft It's got that shaft. It's got 2 springs right there. Okay. But everything else looks dry. Okay. And I'm turning it. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the gears here. I'm going to clean the shaft. Okay. There you go. Clean the shaft. Okay, right there. Okay, now let me get these out of the way, right there. Okay, I am going to put some grease on this shaft right here. And that should lubricate the rest of the shaft. Okay. Okay, just a little more. Once again, you can do this to your reels, okay? Okay, I am going to put a little bit here. There's a gear underneath, made out of plastic, and that wraps it around or pushes or makes the other gears move. Okay. Like that. Okay. All right. So I am going to put a little bit of oil on the shaft. Okay, like that. I'm not hearing the grinding noise. I'm not hearing it. Let's see if with what we did, that's gonna help. It should help. Okay. So I'm not gonna mess with the springs. I'm not gonna mess with anything else. Okay. I already lubricated. Okay. I lubricated the bearings. Now I'm gonna put it back. Okay. Okay. Right there. You gotta put the screws back. Okay. What a big difference when you put WD-40 on the screws before you start the job. Okay. I may be able to use this reel the next time I go to the water. Okay, so the screws are in place. Now, the next thing is we got to put the washers back. All right, look at that. The screws are in place. Now we got to put the washers back. And I have them in the order that I took them out. Okay. Next, we gotta reinstall the star. This is when you want to give it some drag. You want to make it tight, more drag, less drag. That's what it is right here. Okay. And that's the star right there, already installed. Now, the next thing is we got to put the washer back. Okay. Then we have to put the little clamp. Mind you, we got to put the nut. Okay. Now this is where the trick part is. We need to align well, the joke's on me, I guess. It would help. It would help if I put the handle back, right? It would help. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Now we can put the nut. Well, I think I did what I didn't want to do. And what do you say is that? I may have put the nut crooked. That's not good.